Hello, and welcome to Crack Sisters Conspiracies. We're a podcast that covers conspiracy theories, mysteries, and all over spooky shit. My name is Cassandra,
And I'm Jackie.
and we are set sisters. What? What made you do that?
I'm stuck. Hold on. My microphone is in a plethora of chords currently. Oh, there we
Oh, okay.
go. Much better.
In advance of St. Patrick's Day this weekend, which is on Sunday, your face indicates that you were unaware of this.
I had zero idea.
Okay, well, it is St. Patrick's Day on Sunday.
Oh, yay!
Will not be celebrating as much as I usually do. It's
Why
on a
not?
it's on a Sunday, first off. I mean, I only have to be somewhat functional for work, I guess, but I
Just
have
drink
my
at work. It's fine.
I have my St. Patrick's Day
Oh,
nails
those are cute.
with
Okay.
shamrocks, and then see, I'm wearing green. I'm drinking Jameson tonight. So,
Oh, I have Jameson. Want to
oh,
do a shot?
okay.
Okay, give me 1 second.
I was just talking into the nothingness about you having to
Oh.
go downstairs while observing the plushy penis that you have in the background.
So we had Billy and the girls over
Oh.
last weekend.
Uh-huh.
And for some reason, one of them, the younger one, I'm out of breath, obsessed with my office. And she goes, "This is the coolest place. Like, I can't wait to be grown up." And she goes, "I love that. What is that?" I'm like, "It's a stuffed animal." She goes, "Of what?" I go, "A dinosaur." She goes, "Yeah, that's really cool." And then she just kept pointing everything that's dick related in this office. And it
That's
was
funny.
a lot.
So the magic veil has been lifted from my child's eyes. She fully understands and regularly will say, "Why are you an auntie so obsessed with penises?"
What?
Like, I might have been using the stamp recently, and
Oh,
so
I know. I was just thinking I need to get back in the dick game.
right?
With the
The
dickifying something. I had an idea. Can't think of what it is currently, but it'll come back to me.
the ball or shaft rather is in your court. So,
Okay, well, let's do a shot.
Okay. Ready?
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy early St. Patrick's Day.
Yay.
Ugh. Mine was just drinking ice, so I was trying like not to shoot all the ice back. And it hit my teeth. Oh god.
Hold on, takes
Yeah.
me a while to take a shot. Hold
It
on.
takes you a while to drink anything.
I know. I have 6 drinks around me, and none of them are finished.
ADHD. Drink early.
Out called me a drink goblin,
You are a drink
which I think
goblin.
is pretty fitting.
Yeah, my child is the exact same way. There's doom piles of half drunk things throughout the house. It's crazy. That was weird. You went out of focus.
This episode is off the rails.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten to what the topic is, and it's been like a
Ah!
solid 10 minutes of just nonsense.
I think my video is drunk.
You barely even took a shot.
Oh, there.
Hey, you look normal now.
Okay. So
All
what,
right.
speaking of which, is our topic today?
So today's topic was actually a request from a colleague that I
Mhm.
have. I think I had mentioned previously that he had been reading a book about the Salem witch trials.
Yes, that's right.
It's written by Bill O'Reilly, and I forgot
Like
that
the talk show host?
yeah, the TV guy who's
Yeah.
absolutely
From
crazy. I
Fox
didn't,
News, right?
what was that?
From Fox News?
I think so. I didn't put two and two together before I
Hmm.
had read it, but yeah, Salem witch trials, but seemingly unrelated. The back of the book, there's a couple of chapters about a kid named Ronald Hunkeler. And so he was reading it. He was like, "Oh my God, Cass, this is like right up your alley. You should do the story on this." And the reason it was appealing to him is because the story of Ronald Hunkeler has to do with possession and exorcism, and
That's
is
right.
what ended up being used as the inspiration for the movie The Exorcist.
Hmm.
So that's what we're going to be talking about
Ooh, how
today.
fun.
Yeah. So Ronald's story takes place back in 1949. So it's somewhat recentish times within the
Yeah.
last 100 years. And it started in like the Washington D.C., Maryland area, so East Coast.
Okay.
So Ronald was 13 years old at the time, and he was an only child. He lived with his parents and extended family.
Mhm.
And so I think it was like his parents, his aunt, and his grandma. Like they all lived together. And because he was an only child, he had no one to play with and entertain him. So he pretty much leaned on his Aunt Harriet to be his main source of entertainment and his like BFF.
Okay. Sounds familiar.
So, in her quest to be the cool aunt that everyone aspires to be, Harriet leaned into her spiritualist nature and introduced Ronald to the concept of a Ouija board.
And he's 13?
He was 13,
Sounds good.
right? Like, what could go wrong? Ouija boards are a hard no for me, by
Say,
the way.
have you ever played with one?
No, we weren't allowed to have them at all, like in
Good.
the house. I was discouraged from ever touching one ever because I was told it was going to invite unwanted spirits into the house. And
Well,
that's,
yeah.
and I'm so scared that anything or something might happen. Did
You know,
you?
it was modeled as a children's toy when it was created.
Yeah, I think they're still sold as children's
It might
toys.
be, yeah.
It's like made by like Hasbro or
That's what
Mattel
I
or
was gonna say,
something.
yeah.
Have you ever used one?
No, Marissa, I think I talked about it once. Marissa busted one out at a sleepover and I went, thanks, but no thanks. And I just went into the other room and waited for them to be done.
Yeah, that's like the closest I ever got was like we would do like fake seances at the old kids and things, and we would do like light as a feather, stiff as a board in the
We played
dark.
that. Yeah.
But that was it for me. I'm too scared that something bad's gonna
We
happen.
used to play at Kids and Things preschool, or not preschool, Kids and Things Clubhouse. We used to play Bloody Mary, which was terrifying.
Oh yeah.
Dude, one time we did it. I swear to God, I wasn't in it. I was watching because we have like a single bathroom. It just had a toilet and a sink.
Yeah.
And I think it was like a counselor and one of the kids. They went in there and the fucking light bulb shattered. And I went, no, thank you. There's
No.
demon here.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Well,
it
and
was
it
crazy.
was the Kids and Things Clubhouse was an old house.
It was,
It
yeah.
was it was like a legit house that they
There was a
didn't.
fireplace in the middle of it that made no sense.
Yeah, and like the front was just like the living room where the desk was, and
Uh-huh.
then there was different
The
like
kitchen, yeah.
play areas and the
Mhm.
bedrooms, and it had a pool and shit.
Yeah.
Didn't they like burn that down?
Yes. The fire department was like, we need practice. Let's burn down some fucking childhood memories. And
That's
then it
right.
was
It was
like
a
a contained
controlled
burn or
burn.
whatever.
I
That's what,
remember. So we both went there. Oh, sorry, I have like a pimple on my arm. We both went there, but because of the age difference between us, like I had moved on. Like I was in high school when you were still
yeah.
there, but I remember I had my own car at that point, and you were telling me that someone there was giving you a hard time and was being mean, and I had
Mhm.
told a couple of my friends, and so like three of us piled into my old Explorer and like rolled up to Kids and Things, the daycare, and like went to go pick you up and like totally mean mugged at this kid for you.
I'm pretty sure it was Nicole Blankenship because she was a bitch and she used to pee her pants all the time.
You know what? She deserved
Bitch.
it.
I don't know where
So
she is today, but I'm sure she still smells like piss.
I also think a lot of those people thought I was your mom sometimes. Like
Probably. It was a
this
weird bunch, but a
it
fun bunch.
was. Yeah, I mean, I was a Kids and Things alum since I was like 2,
Yeah,
and
same.
you also, so maybe even sooner. But anywho, Ouija boards, no bueno.
Yes.
Whether it was related to the, playing with the Ouija board nonsense or not, sadly, Ronald's Aunt Harriet kicked the bucket not too long after that whole, ordeal happened.
Wait, Ronald's the kid?
Ronald is the kid.
Oh, so the kid and the aunt died.
No, the kid is alive, just the aunt is dead.
You just said Ronald and Harriet kicked the bucket.
I said Ronald was sad. Okay. No.
Okay.
The
Okay,
kid is
aunt
still
died.
alive because he exists through the whole thing. His
Okay.
Aunt Harriet is dead after they
Okay.
played with the Ouija board.
Okay.
Related or unrelated, TBD. No one
Okay.
knows. He was very sad. He did not take it
Yeah,
well, as one would
naturally.
when losing your best friend. So,
Mhm.
who is probably a middle-aged woman.
Probably.
But strange things started happening in the house. shortly after, like strange noises. They heard like growling and like weird, like high pitched noises. Things started moving, like pieces of furniture, like dressers would just like move across the room all by themselves. Like things were levitating. And like at one point, the mom was like, Harriet, is that you? Knock once if it is. And of course, whatever it was knocked once,
Mhm.
but so that's where it started. And then
Okay.
wherever Ronald was, that's when things would start to like happen around him. So like if he
Mm.
wasn't in the house, the parents were just like living their normal life, but when he was
Okay.
around, that's when things started getting weird.
Mhm.
So the parents did what you would expect those in the 40s to do, and they went to their Lutheran pastor for help. So when
Jesus.
in doubt, turn to Jesus.
Mhm.
One of the moments that was described in the book is that they actually had like a framed picture of Jesus that would like rattle on the wall and like noises would happen. It was very interesting.
That's what you get for having pictures of Jesus in your house.
Right. The pastor was convinced that Ronald was just acting out and he was actually the cause of everything that was happening, and that there was no other explanation. It had to be maybe like psychological. It was just him being a moody, angsty, teenage boy.
Mhm.
But like physically, there's like no way he could have moved like the old like giant wooden furniture and all of
Yeah.
that shit. So it didn't make sense, but I also think he didn't want to accept that anything other than something nefarious was happening. So
Okay.
so to further try to support his claim that it was like all just Ronald being a kid, the pastor went so far as to have Ronald come stay the night with him. That face. Yes.
I'm just
Um,
making sure he's not a Catholic priest, right?
you know what? You beat me to it. Yes, because he had requested that Ronald not only come to his house and spend the night, but that they share a room together so
And he
that
be
he
naked.
so that he could observe him throughout the
Alright.
night. And my notes on the surface, historically, men who, are men of the cloth and young boys, when they get together, it usually doesn't end well. But like we mentioned, he is Lutheran, not Catholic. So I guess the kid was all right.
Okay.
It was just a joke. Don't be mad at us, please. I'm sorry.
But like also watch the movie Spotlight.
Right? Or, read the news every now and again. But
Open your eyes. Whatever.
anywho, turns out after the whole ordeal, the pastor was like, oh shit, there's something wrong because he bore witness to the same kind of things that his parents had been complaining about. And he tapped out. He's like, nah, we're Lutheran. We don't believe in like
So yeah, they don't do
exorcism.
exorcists
They
or
do
anything
not.
like
It is not in their, faith system at all. So he did recommend that they get in touch with a Catholic priest because he felt something needed to happen.
to the little boy.
Yes. Dad is in the garage. Why? Okay, quietly move on. You don't need to interrupt me for that. So the family went to go meet with a a Roman Catholic priest named Edward Hughes at Georgetown University Hospital.
Okay.
So they went there because it is a Jesuit institution. So Jesuits, like Roman Catholic, like I think it stands for like Jesus something or whatever.
Oh,
It's like
okay.
a very like devout level of Catholicism where they do believe in exorcism and practice that. And so that's
Okay.
why they went specifically there. And so this priest Hughes, he apparently attempted to do the exorcism, but it did not go as planned.
Hmm.
And they had like the kid all strapped up in his bed at the hospital, like restraints and everything. But during the process, he managed to free one of his hands from the restraints and then like reached underneath him and ripped one of the bed springs off and like broke it. And then ended up slashing the priest like down the arm
Oh my
and
God.
like totally like tore him open. And Priest Edward said, fuck this, I'm out. And he halted the exorcism and he bailed. So,
Can you imagine? Be
oh,
like, you are obviously possessed by a demon, but this is beyond my capabilities. I'm gonna see you later. Like, you can figure this out for yourself.
right? Like, absolutely not. Oh, okay. So first round did not work out for them. So the family then decided to leave the state and go somewhere else in search
Okay.
of additional help. So they ended up in St. Louis, Missouri at the St. Louis University. And they had some family out there.
Hmm.
And one of Ronald's cousins was going to the school, and he had reached out to an associate of his at the college church. And his name was William Bowdern. I'm going to say Bowdern just
Okay.
because. Bowdern was recruited for Exorcism 2.0,
Hmm.
and he met with Ronald and his family at their like cousin's house to assess the whole situation.
Okay.
And so he reportedly witnessed a shaking bed. So imagine like those coin operated, like vibrating beds in hotels.
You have a child behind you, by the
I
way.
do. You need to be
Okay.
gone. The power of Christ compels you to leave my room. Go, my demon child. Close the door behind you. We're talking about exorcisms. Yes, Catholic. Okay, get out. I love you so much. Bye, dum dum. So, vibrating hotel beds.
Hmm. What is the point of that? Were they supposed to be like for pleasure?
I don't know. It doesn't seem like it would be very pleasurable, like at
Or
all.
is it like a soothing? Because like, they're like usually in like seedy motels.
Right? So it's not like a self-soothing autistic tool. It's like I'm it's probably like an aid to the body motion maybe to make it a little better. I don't know.
Either.
I
Anyways, what
don't
was the point of this?
I don't know, but the whole vibrating bed thing is not for me. But yeah, so went to the house. So this is what he had witnessed. And
Oh,
so
that's
like
right.
there
Okay.
were objects flying around the room, and Ronald started speaking in Latin in like a deep guttural voice that even for a 13-year-old who might be going through puberty would not have come from him.
Okay.
And then it was also discovered that Ronald had an aversion to anything sacred, like the holy water that they were waterboarding him with. And so Bowdern confirmed that things were not okay.
Hmm.
And he ended up getting permission from the archbishop
Hmm.
to perform a second exorcism because apparently you need managerial approval
You do.
before you can do that.
You do. I did know that.
I didn't.
You have to
Okay.
like take your case to like the higher ups and plead the case, and it's up to them if they want to approve it or not.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
had no idea. Okay. The more you know.
Shoo.
So Bowdern, he recruited a few other priests from the school and essentially formed the Exorcism Avengers, is how I'm thinking of it.
Okay.
So just like a holy team of Jesus lovers coming to expel the devil from this 13-year-old boy. The ritual took place at the Alexian Brother Hospital in St. Louis and was performed by a total of 3 priests. And the whole ordeal was a hot mess from start to finish,
Okay.
primarily because, like in the book specifically, it noted that Bowdern was actually untrained in the ways of exorcism and expelling demons from children, and he was just kind of winging it. So,
I always wondered, like, if they go through a class to know what they're doing, if there's
do you get
only,
an exorcism training certificate or something?
yeah, or I just assumed you were trying your best and reading like that one passage of scripture or something that they always say, but I didn't know if they went through official training to be exorcists.
Yeah, I don't know. Or yeah, if that's like a special accreditation or certification you can go for, like I don't know. But he had done none of that. So he
Yeah.
he was one of those, by the seat of his pants kind of guys, it
Yeah.
seemed. It is also worth noting that this whole Exorcism 2.0 process lasted 31 days.
That's a very long time.
Your face was exactly what mine did when I read that because it just kept going and going and going. Very fitting. It started in like early March and then ended like after Easter. But yeah, it was like a whole month of like actively trying to exorcise the demon from him. And then he would have a show, whether it be, yelling in Latin or doing whatever. and then he'd like go back to sleep and be like normal for a spell, and then
Oh,
like they
okay.
would wake up and start all
Yeah.
over again. Um, but yeah, like throughout the whole process, there was a lot of angry yelling in Latin, like I said, more of that like vibrating bed nonsense, which again,
Hmm.
still don't understand the purpose of that. And at some point, Ronald ended up breaking the nose of Bodern, the priest, in the process. Like it was a very violent um
Gosh. Oh, well, I mean, to
ordeal.
be fair, I haven't heard of many like peaceful fucking exorcisms.
True, that is fair. But after the 31 days of the, groundhogian performance of wake up, wash, rinse, repeat, whatever, the exorcism finally ended and was deemed a success.
Okay.
And Ronald was back to being his normal 13-year-old self. And it was reported that he went on to have a normal life. I mean,
Fucking have a normal life after that shit.
I really, unless like the whole suppression of childhood
Oh,
trauma and stuff was like strong with him, I
that's
don't
beginning.
know. I feel like that's something that would kind of stick with you for the rest of your days.
Just a little bit.
Just, just a bit. It would definitely have like a formative shaping of your personality when your mind is that malleable and your frontal or prefrontal cortex is not developed yet. So,
Prefrontal cortex. Fucking idiot.
So claims of Ronald's experience being a supernatural one were obviously brought into question, with many believing that he was simply just a deeply disturbed boy, which
Okay.
is, I mean, he experienced trauma with his, favorite person dying, and,
Yeah.
that might make people do some crazy things, but
But unless she taught him Latin,
right. And
I
so, I
don't
mean,
know
there
how that would
there are
be.
some questionable things, but there is an author named Mark Opasnik. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but he had done some research and investigation on the whole,
Mhm.
Ronald Hunkeler story. And he certainly didn't believe that anything evil had taken place. So he stated that Ronald was simply a spoiled, disturbed bully who threw deliberate tantrums to get attention or to get out of school.
Mhm.
So he also stated that one of the priests who was present at the exorcism actually never heard like the kid's voice change, and he thought the boy merely was mimicking Latin words that he had heard other clergymen and like priests say. But his family's Lutheran, so it's not like he was around like Latin,
Yeah.
right? I don't know. I don't know anything
But
about Lutheran.
also, maybe the priests don't know Latin.
And they were
If I
like,
were to say something very compelling in a Latin sounding language without knowing it, and you don't know it, to fact check me, it could sound legitimate.
and Bodern was already established as not knowing what the fuck he was doing. So yeah,
Now
maybe
there's a
he
fucking
just,
second language, I'm out.
right? Like maybe, yeah, he just sucked as, a Catholic priest all around. Uh, but yeah, so that was his like argument, like, oh, he must have heard other people saying it rather than gaining the sudden ability to speak it. I
Mhm.
mean, I think there are some like weird mental like traumas or like head traumas that can cause you to like know how to speak in another
It's a head trauma, but
language.
you have to have learned the language at some point.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense that you just suddenly know how to speak French when you've
But
never
also,
spoken it.
why do all these demons speak Latin? Like,
I
there's got to be a demon from like 2004.
Yeah, it's like why is it all like Old Testament testamenty? I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Testamental
Test
demons. Yeah.
Yeah, like why is it from all, days of yore? Like why can't they be Buffy demons? They all speak English and are hip and cool.
Yeah.
I would rather be possessed by the demon who makes you dance until you die. I don't know.
Like the dancing plague.
Yeah. Oh
We covered that.
yeah, we did. But Opasnik also reported that when the marks were found on the boy's body, so like throughout the whole like month-long process, like marks would appear on his body, whether it was like letters or numbers or like the words hell, like torn into his body. And um it was reported that the priest failed to check the boy's fingernails to see if he was the one actually like self-inflicting. They just
Yeah.
assumed that they were being torn into his flesh. And so that was like a question. And
Okay.
then Opasnik also questioned the story of Edward Hughes, so the original priest who tried to
Yeah.
exorcise him. Um and so and the injury that he suffered, he's the one that got slashed with the bed spring.
Yeah.
So he was saying that he could find no evidence that such an episode actually occurred, that there was no like supporting report or anything. And so all of those things are his basis for why he doesn't believe that what happened was like truly a spiritual or supernatural or whatever thing. He just
Okay.
thought that the kid was a dick and was like self-harming.
Okay.
But regardless of the legitimacy of what happened, the story got out there. People had at least heard something about it,
Mhm.
and it really piqued the interest of one William Peter Blatty, who, in his college days, had heard about it, took a keen interest in it, and he is the one who wrote the book The Exorcist,
Oh, okay.
which was then adapted into the movie that we all know and fear from the 70s.
Yeah.
Um, have you seen that? I'm sure you have. You've
Yeah,
seen The
that's one of my
Exorcist.
Halloween movies. I watch it
That's what
every
I
year.
thought. And I remember I've only seen it, I think, twice. I was far too young the first time I saw it. And I remember mom and dad telling me that it was going to be like the scariest movie that I've ever seen. And for a long time it was. It's,
I think if you're younger, like I think a good time to watch it is when you're a little bit too young to watch it because then it will really stick with you.
yeah.
I didn't watch it till I was an adult.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't have access to it because we didn't have, the 500 streaming services we did back in the
Sure.
day. We only had Netflix. Um, but I like it now. It is a little scary. It's very long. It's a little too long in my opinion, but I
Okay.
still think it's a great movie.
I think it's more disturbing in nature than it
Yeah,
is
I guess.
scary. Because there's
Yeah.
some things that I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Like,
like the shit that comes out of her mouth
or
is
the whole like crucifix scene, and or like the she does like a back bend walking down the stairs. Like that shit's creepy and it's
yeah.
weird. But yeah, there's lots of vulgarities in it that I'm like, oh God. But the overall like scariness of it's not as highly rated as it was when I was younger. So that's an
No,
excellent
of
point.
course not. And then they make remakes fucking every like 3 years. I just watched the most recent remake and it fucking sucked.
Yeah,
So
there was one that came out just like a couple months ago.
yeah, that's the one I watched.
Okay.
It wasn't good.
It's also worth noting that The Exorcist, the movie, it was also plagued like the filming of all of the Poltergeist movies were.
Yeah. It was on my list of haunted movies.
Yeah,
And
and so
Linda Blair, that's
Linda
her name, right?
Blair.
She
Yeah.
broke her back
Yeah,
in it.
she's not the only one.
Yeah.
The woman who played her mom also suffered like spinal injuries from like the
Yeah.
harnesses that were used and shit.
Uh-huh.
And there were, I wrote it down. What was it? 9 members of production like died during the actual filming of the
Oh my
movie.
God. I
I
should
mean,
have
not
covered that instead of
necessarily
the other
like
one.
on set, but yeah, it's like some dude's kid got like fucking smacked by a car or a motorcycle or whatever, died in the road. Like it was pretty crazy. And yeah, there were lots of actor injuries. There were fires that caused them to lose film
Mhm.
footage, except for like the bed scenes. So like it was just a hot mess express, like Poltergeist. So from what I've gathered, don't make movies about like haunted and cursed things if you
I know.
don't
That's
want
why I
some
like
bad
watching it. I don't
juju.
want to be a part of it.
Absolutely not. And also, from what I've gathered from those that I know who do, working in Hollywood sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah.
I have no interest in that. But that, my friends, is the story of Ronald Hunkeler, which is, I think
That's
I'm pronouncing
good.
it right. He's the inspiration for the movie The Exorcist, and
I
it
like
was
that.
interesting. Yeah. So, Jason, I hope you're happy.
You better be.
So what were you thinking? Oh, that's right. We have a double header. We have to record this weekend if James doesn't bitch out
Yeah.
on us on
Well, he
Saturday.
better not because we're like out of time.
It is the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I figured we would do it either in my office or my conference room at work just because I don't want another man in my bedroom.
That's a good point, and I didn't think about that.
But I
But
have.
also technically, I think this episode currently is coming out after that episode, so we're talking
Oh.
in the past or the future.
Oh, okay.
One of the two.
Got it. But so after we record our, anniversary episode, then
Mhm.
what are we going to record?
That's what I'm looking up. Hold
Oh,
on.
good. And I will not be here next weekend, so we'll have to work around that.
Great. Where are you going next weekend?
Friday through Monday, we're camping at Kachuma, and then I'm home on Tuesday, and then Gracie is on spring break, so then I work Wednesday and I work a partial day Thursday, and then we're off on Good Friday because it's Easter weekend after that, which
Oh
I
my
didn't
gosh.
realize. I don't know if lemon ball is in my future. We'll see.
I know. I was thinking about that. What was it? We never did the episode with Danny, now that I think about it. He
No.
also has to record his episode at some point.
Yes. And now that I have a plan for logistics, it's just a matter of him getting his shit together and then we can find a time to do it. So, chaos coordinator, that's what you need to do.
Okay, so I have two options per usual.
Okay.
So I can cover Bohemian Cove, which I think James actually told me about this. He said all rich people go up north and worship an owl. He goes, it's very lucrative. I don't know. And
Okay.
then so I could do that, or I could do, I don't know who this is, but Carly Russell's fake kidnapping.
I don't know who that is. I am more intrigued by the weird owl thing.
Sure.
So
So
let's
then
do
I will
that.
cover Black Rock, I think is what it's called. Bohemian Cove. Just kidding.
Black Rock.
I don't know where that came from. I will cover Bohemian Cove.
Okay, Bohemian Cove it is.
And then we did get a couple episode suggestions from Army Chris.
We did.
So he was messaging me yesterday,
It's
and
so
he gave
funny.
like three different topics, and one of them he's like, I actually know. So one of them is the Bell Witch. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Okay.
But he's like, there is a chemistry professor who did an experiment to see if it was real or not. He goes, I'm friends with her and she's super cool. So if you guys wanted to interview her, like I could probably make that happen. So I'm like, okay, I will put that in our back pocket. So
That is a back pocket item for sure. I was chatting with him not that long ago because he was starting up his own podcast and
he reached out to me too. It was very like he had commented on something else. He's like, oh, by the way, like, do you have any suggestions?
yeah, he's like, what do you use? What do you do? I'm like, I don't know. We use this. My sister does everything. So
that might explain why he reached out to me then.
I was not useful, but I was encouraging. So Chris, I hope it's going well.
Yeah, I hope so.
But what else? Oh, I had posted a clip on our TikTok yesterday, which
I saw we have like over 1,000 views.
people seem to really like the thought
it was
of
the Dirty
it
Sanchez.
was the Dirty Sanchez.
I know, I checked that today because I have all of our like social media up on like a Google Chrome.
Oh, uh-huh.
So Twitter has nothing, even though I've been constantly updating Twitter. So if you're on that, I don't think I'm using it right, but I'm trying.
I don't know how to use it.
And then obviously Instagram, and I started posting one like clip per new episode just to kind of like get interest. And then yeah, I checked our TikTok and I saw that you had posted a new episode. We're already over like 1,000 views.
I pulled it up right now. We have over 1,800 views.
Oh my God.
And a whole bunch of likes on it. But yeah, because I was going through and I have to do like a screen record or a screen capture on our videos and then I snip them down for TikTok.
I was wondering how you did that. Okay.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh, collecting a couple. I'm like, these will probably work. And then that one happened. I was like, fuck all the rest of them. Dirty Sanchez and Dad it is. And without context, both of those things together in the same sentence sound terrible.
You have to go to our TikTok to find out.
Right. Or subscribe to the Patreon to get the rest of the clip. And if you're nice, maybe we'll give you some more context if you ask politely or just give us money. Yes, which segues into the fact that yes, we have a Patreon. Go visit it. You can get the full-length videos. You can get other supporting, things for our episodes.
I'm constantly adding shit to it. So
that's good. You're so much better at that than I am, but I am trying.
You are. That's okay.
But you still do 99.9% of the work, and I show up.
Okay. You do TikTok. I don't know how to the TikTok. So
I don't know how to TikTok either, but I'm figuring it out. But in addition to our TikTok and our Patreon, you mentioned we have our Twitter/X. Like you said, we don't really know how to use it, but it's there. We have Facebook, which
And I don't even bother with.
no, but I mean it's there. But Instagram is typically the primary way to get a hold of us. So feel free to send us a DM or leave a comment or what have you. You can drop us an email, crackssistersconspiracies@gmail.com. But yeah, we make it very easy for you to access us, and you need to take better advantage of that.
So please do.
Take advantage of us. But yeah, with that, I'm gonna say stay cracked, y'all.
And have a great day.